Yeah, I'm stuck out here and oh shit!
On May 14th, 2008, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson vanished into the night on a lonely back road in rural Minnesota. The last thing his parents ever heard him say over the phone was two words, "Oh shit," and then silence. Brandon grew up in Marshall, Minnesota. He just graduated high school in 2007 and was finishing a program in wind energy at Minnesota West Community and Technical College in Canby. He wasn't a drifter. He wasn't in trouble. This was a young man with family support and plans for his future. On May 13th, he went out to celebrate the end of the semester with friends. People who saw him that night later said he didn't appear drunk or out of control. Nothing suggested the night would end in mystery. Just before 2 a.m. on May 14th, Brandon called his parents. His car, a Chevy Lumina, had gone off a gravel road into a shallow ditch. He wasn't hurt, just stuck. He told them he thought he was near the small town of Lind, just southwest of Marshall. His parents drove out immediately, keeping him on the line as they searched. Brandon stayed by his car, flashing his headlights. His parents did the same, but strangely, neither side ever saw the other's lights. Frustrated, Brandon started walking toward distant lights he could see in the darkness, telling his dad to meet him at a parking lot in Lind. They stayed on the phone the entire time. He described walking along fences, crossing through fields, even hearing water nearby. The call lasted 47 minutes. At around 2:30 a.m., Brandon suddenly interrupted himself. He said, "Oh shit," and then the line went quiet. His parents tried calling him back again and again, but he never picked up. At 6:30 that morning, his parents reported him missing, but the first response was frustrating. Police told them Brandon had the right to be missing since he was 19. By later that day, however, a real search was underway, and almost immediately investigators realized the location Brandon gave over the phone was wrong. Cell phone records showed his call hadn't come from Lind at all. It had come from a tower 25 miles northwest, near the towns of Minneota and Porter. That put him in a completely different part of the countryside. Searchers soon found his car, abandoned in a ditch near the Lincoln County line, just north of Highway 68. It wasn't damaged, but the doors were left open, and the keys were missing. There were no obvious footprints to show which direction he had walked. Authorities launched one of the most extensive searches in Minnesota history. Helicopters flew overhead. K-9 teams, including bloodhounds from South Dakota, tracked scent trails. Boats searched the Yellow Medicine River. One trail, followed by dogs, ran about 3 miles northwest toward an abandoned farmstead and down to the river's edge. Some handlers believe the scent may have continued across the river toward another gravel road, but nothing conclusive was ever recovered. The search continued season after season, year after year. Volunteers scoured more than 122 square miles of farmland and river bottom. Over 500 people joined the effort at different times, and still, no sign of Brandon has ever been found. One possibility raised was that he had mistaken the red light of a distant grain elevator in Taunton for the town of Lind. On the flat prairie, landmarks can be misleading at night, but that only explains why he thought he was closer to home than he really was. It doesn't explain why he vanished. Brandon's parents never gave up. They even left their porch light on, night after night, hoping one day he'd come home. But they also turned their grief into change. In 2009, Minnesota passed Brandon's Law, which requires police to take missing person reports for adults immediately if they may be in danger. No more right to be missing excuses. So what happened to Brandon Swanson? The most common theory is that he fell into the Yellow Medicine River that night. The water was high and fast in places. If he slipped, the current could have taken him. But after years of searches by boat, by divers, and by dogs, no body, no clothing, and not even his phone has ever been found. Another theory is exposure. He was out in the cold, disoriented, walking through fields and fences in the middle of the night. If he avoided the river but kept moving, hypothermia or exhaustion could have overtaken him before sunrise. But again, nothing was ever found, even after harvest, when the fields were bare. Foul play is also possible. Investigators say they found no direct evidence of an attack, but they've admitted they can't rule it out. On a remote road in the middle of the night, anything could have happened. And then there's the least likely explanation, that Brandon vanished intentionally. But if that were the case, why would he spend nearly an hour on the phone with his parents asking for help, only to stage his own disappearance? It doesn't add up. The details remain haunting. A car with its doors open and keys missing. A 47-minute phone call ending mid-sentence. A massive search effort turning up nothing. It's as if Brandon Swanson walked off the map. More than 15 years later, the mystery endures. For his family, the light on the porch still burns. A reminder and a promise that Brandon is never forgotten. If you know anything about the disappearance of Brandon Victor Swanson, contact Minnesota authorities or the FBI. Some mysteries stay loud because they have no ending. And here at True and Twisted, we tell them so they're never forgotten. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to keep these stories alive. The porch light still burns for Brandon, and for every mystery like his. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and stay twisted.